Lesson 5.3 is use angle bisectors of triangles. We're going to use our angle bisectors to find distance relationships. We have two key things that we need to remember: that an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent adjacent angles, and that a distance from a point to a line is the length of the perpendicular segment from the point to the line. So in this diagram, AD is bisector of angle BAC, and the distance from point D, which is on the angle bisector, to AB is BD, where BD must be perpendicular to, and there's a little typo, sorry about that, must be perpendicular to AB. So our theorems, the angle bisector theorem says if a point is on the bisector of an angle, then it is equidistant from the two sides of the angle. So if AD bisects angle BAC, then DB is perpendicular to ray AB, and DC is perpendicular to ray AC. And DB length is equal to the length of DC. The converse of this is if a point is in the interior of an angle, that means in the inside, and is equidistant from the sides of the angle, then it lies on the angle bisector. Of the angle. So if DB is perpendicular to AB and DC is perpendicular to AC and DB equals DC, then AD bisects angle BAC. We have one thing we need to add here at the bottom, another little vocabulary word. And it's the angle bisectors of a triangle intersect at a point equidistant from the sides of the triangle. It's called the in-center. And that's something that you're going to need for the project. Don't forget about GeoGebra needs to be installed on your iPad. Okay, so finding measures. Find the measure of AD. We can see that AD is perpendicular to AB and DC is perpendicular to BC. So they must be equal. So it equals 7. Find the measure of angle DBA. Again, we can see that AD equals DC. AD is perpendicular to AB and DC is perpendicular to BC. So the measure of DBA equals 20. Is DA equal to DC? Well, I can see that AD is perpendicular, DC is perpendicular, my two little angles are congruent, so yes, we have AD perpendicular to AB and DC perpendicular to CB, ray BD bisects angle ABC. Well, I have ray BD bisecting angle ABC. We do not know if AD is perpendicular to BA and DC perpendicular to BC. Can you conclude that BD bisects ABC? So in the first one, no, we don't know if, remember there's two criteria, both criteria must be met. So we don't know AD equals DC. And the second one, no, don't know if AD is perpendicular to BA or DC perpendicular to BC. In number 7, we do have both criteria. You have AD equal to DC, and then you do have the perpendicular relationships. The next page, find the value of x. So the two angles must be congruent since you have the angle bisector criteria met. So x equals 7. We're told that the angle is bisected and we do have perpendicular segments. So the lengths must be equal. And the same thing, criteria is met in number 10 as number 9. So 6x minus 17 must equal 3x plus 7. And the last thing, can you find the value of x? So it's still some reasoning going on here. We have perpendicular segments, we have an angle bisected, so yes, x equals 9. In number 12, this would be no, because we need perpendicular. And in 13, that would be no, because perpendicular is in the wrong place. And segments must be congruent. And that's the end of the lesson.